Rome did not begin as an empire. In the early days of the Roman Republic, it was little more than a small city along the banks of the Tiber River in central Italy. Surrounded by rival tribes and powerful neighbors, its survival was far from certain. But over the next 6 centuries, this small city would conquer vast territories and build one of the greatest empires in human history. Rome's first great challenge came from its neighbors in Italy. During the 4th and 3rd centuries BC, Rome fought a series of brutal conflicts against powerful regional rivals. Among the most dangerous were the Samnites, fierce warriors from the mountainous regions of central Italy. Through decades of warfare, Rome gradually expanded its influence across the peninsula. Roman armies also defeated Greek cities in southern Italy and even faced the famous general Pyrrhus of Epirus. By 264 BC, Rome controlled nearly the entire Italian peninsula. This victory gave Rome access to enormous manpower and resources, laying the foundation for future expansion. Rome's rise soon brought it into conflict with another great power, Carthage. Carthage was a wealthy maritime empire that dominated trade across the western Mediterranean. The rivalry between these two powers would erupt into a series of devastating conflicts known as the Punic Wars. The most famous moment came during the Second Punic War, when the Carthaginian general Hannibal led an army, including war elephants, across the Alps and invaded Italy. For years, Hannibal inflicted devastating defeats on Roman armies. But Rome refused to surrender. Instead, Roman forces carried the war into Spain and eventually into North Africa itself. In 146 BC, after decades of struggle, Rome finally destroyed Carthage. With its greatest rival eliminated, Rome became the dominant power of the Western Mediterranean. With Carthage defeated, Rome soon turned its attention eastward. The once powerful kingdoms that had emerged after the death of Alexander the Great were now weakened by internal conflict. Rome fought a series of wars against the Macedonian kingdom and other Hellenistic states. Roman legions proved highly adaptable against the traditional Greek phalanx armies. After decisive victories, Rome gradually absorbed Greece and much of the eastern Mediterranean into its growing empire. By the end of the 2nd century BC, Rome was no longer simply an Italian power. It had become the dominant force across the Mediterranean world. In the 1st century BC, Roman expansion continued under one of history's most famous generals, Julius Caesar. Beginning in 58 BC, Caesar launched a series of campaigns that would bring nearly all of Gaul, modern France and Belgium, under Roman control. These campaigns were brutal and complex, involving dozens of tribal confederations. The most famous confrontation came at the Siege of Alesia, where Caesar defeated the Gallic leader Vercingetorix. The conquest of Gaul dramatically expanded Roman territory and wealth. It also gave Caesar enormous political power that would soon reshape Rome itself. Following years of civil war, Rome eventually transitioned from a republic into an empire. Under emperors like Augustus, Rome experienced a long period of stability and prosperity known as the Pax Romana. Trade flourished across the Mediterranean, cities grew, and Roman influence spread across 3 continents. Yet expansion did not stop. Roman emperors continued to push the empire's borders outward. By the year 117 AD, under the Emperor Trajan, the Roman Empire reached its greatest territorial extent. Roman territory stretched from Britain in the northwest to Egypt in the south, and from Spain to the edges of Mesopotamia. The Mediterranean Sea had effectively become a Roman lake. The Romans even had a name for it: Mare Nostrum, our sea. From a small city in central Italy, Rome had grown into one of the largest empires the world had ever seen. For centuries, Rome dominated the Mediterranean world. Its armies, roads, and culture reshaped vast regions of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. And it all began with a single city on the banks of the Tiber River.